This is Tony from her Homestead Skills, and it is Sunday morning, and if I have time I will put this video out this morning, otherwise it will go out tomorrow. So this is more of a catch-up video. It is fairly early, and I've just got out of the shower, and Mark and I are going to go out for another drive out in the country. Not much to do around here these days, so getting out and about, not much to do out in the country either, except that you're out there, which is nicer than being locked in your home. Anyway, so as I was saying, this is a bit of a catch-up video. Yeah, we were out and about yesterday as well, and when I got home he said, well, do you want shrimp scampi for tonight? And I said, well, how about I make some homemade linguine first? Because it is so much nicer with homemade pasta. And I was able to whip that together pretty quickly. So now I have pasta for, well, another 3 nights. And yeah, but the more often you make it, the easier it is and the better you get at it. There is, to making pasta, there is a certain texture that you want your dough. And to get that consistency all the time, is pretty difficult to do, even for someone who's been doing it for years. My mother was always perfect at it. She could make the most amazing lasagna. I have never seen anyone that could make a lasagna the way that woman and her sister, the two of them. They would get together and make trays and trays for parties, and I don't think there was ever any left over because it was always so good. But I think it took her a few years to develop that perfection as well. So all in good time. Hopefully I still have a few years left to perfect that. I also got my love of gardening from my mother, I'm sure. She was also an avid gardener. She loved flowers as well as planting her vegetables. So I grew up in her garden. So yes, obviously I got my love of gardening from her, as well as probably many other things that you don't recognize until you get older, that yes, learned behavior from your mom, from your dad, comes naturally. Anyway, today is a bit of a catch-up video. I'm going to put on something a little warmer and step outside and show you some of my seedlings, how well they're doing. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, as you can see, my little pepper plants are doing phenomenal, even though they're out in the cold here. It's still just in the 50s, which is exceptionally cold for this time of year. You know, Mark keeps telling me, no, it's normal, and I said, no, it's not. I could remember planting the 1st of May, although that was unusual. I did manage to do it. Normally around the middle of the month, so another week from now. But we don't plant until you reach a certain temperature at night. My basil plants are a little bit affected by the cold. They're very tender anyway. But I decided to try and harden these off and just leave them outside. So they seem to be surviving it. And if the odd leaf is touched by the cold, well, as long as the plant survives, I'm happy. My grape tomatoes don't seem to mind the cold at all. They're doing quite well. And I've got, quite a few of them there that I just transplanted last week. The cucumbers that you saw me transplant are doing fine. Once again, they seem to be okay, even though it is cold. Perhaps this is just a fairly sheltered area, but it is cold. And Brussels sprouts doing extremely well, but Brussels sprouts like the cold, so no issue there. And my parsley is growing fine, doing very well. The lavender that I transplanted, I have a bunch of lavender. There are a few failures, but there's more than adequate lavender plants to do what I want. And my chamomile is doing amazing. So they're ready to be put into the ground. And as you can see, with these clear plastic cups, you can see all the roots growing up the side. And, you know, they'll be in these pots for another couple of weeks for sure. So I'm not unhappy with the growth so far. I was a little worried about my pepper plants because they like heat, but they seem to be doing okay. Like that I planted in pots last year is doing fine. The sage, the big mother sage plant that I took cuttings from, it's doing awesome. And the lavender plant that I took cuttings from that I thought had died is apparently cutting back. So I'll probably cut back some of the woody growth and allow the new stuff to grow. But I may leave that a little longer just to see where new shoots are coming from as well. So that's the garden for now until I get them planted in the ground. And oh yes, I do have a couple of strawberry plants. And yes, my avocados are doing just fine. I brought them outside and I noticed that the leaves were just way too tender, so we lost a few leaves. So I brought them back in. I'll wait till it's a lot warmer before they go out. As well as ginger plants are doing very well. So yes, and since it is Mother's Day, it is only fitting that I remember my mother today. Normally I would buy some flowers and take it up to her resting place and say a prayer or two. But can't buy flowers. So that'll have to wait. Instead of being done on Mother's Day, it'll probably be a little later. Now my mother, she said, "You're all gonna forget me when I'm gone." And I said, no. And I asked her, like, she was quite strong and adamant about looking after her husband, my dad's resting place. He died quite young in a motor vehicle accident, so yeah, she would go up there at least twice a year and tend. And so I asked her, well, what is it you would want from me? And she said, once in the fall and once in the spring, and you know, to change flowers so that it didn't appear abandoned. So I try to at least go in the spring. I'll admit that I don't do it twice a year, but anyway, have to remember Mother on Mother's Day. Definitely loved her and she loved me, and that was always felt. So anyway, we are looking at heading out within the next little while. Probably should look at having some breakfast before we go. And on the road again. And being out on... Anyway, that's some of my updates here. I hope you have a happy Mother's Day. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.